Everything from overlanding in your stock rig to full-on LS-powered 2 buggies on stickies. This is the Total Off-Road Podcast. I'm Steve.
And I'm Ian, and thanks for joining us for episode number 62.
I'm glad that you have done the math in your head to figure out what episode this is, because I was sitting here going,
I just busted it off because I was pretty sure last week was 61, and I was like, 62.
I think you're right.
And you didn't say, oh my gosh, it wasn't. So I ran with it, and obviously I sold it to you, which is clearly all that I need to do.
That's it.
There is someone out there who was like, this is 63.
No, it's definitely 62. Pretty sure.
Okay.
98%.
Well, it's our podcast. We'll do what we want. So
you would think
62.
after typing that in the computer like 18 times while uploading the podcast, I would remember.
It's a done and gone concept. So
Nonetheless,
tell them who we got today.
Okay, so today's episode is kind of like super last minute. Just let's do this because maybe we can. I messaged Jacob Tuma of Off-Road Anonymous, and we are going to give him a shout here in a minute. So that is what's going on. Did we want to talk about, there was something else in the intro we wanted to talk about? What was it? It was,
I don't know.
You're killing me, Smalls. It was something related. I started talking about it on the Patreon.
You got stuck in the XJ.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. See, I'm glad you remembered.
Yes.
And I was going to show you the video of it.
Yes.
This is the intro part. So just go to my, I'll pull it up for you. Anyway, last Monday we got a bunch of snow. We got like 18 inches. So a bunch for here, given that we've been bitching all season about not getting snow. And so since we got a nice snow and everything, and then I sliced my hand open, I was in the garage doing some work and I sliced my hand open and I was like, well, that's done. And so I went and grabbed low key and threw it in the garage and thawed it out and got all the ice out of the bead locks. And then I needed to go into town to check on the heat at the shop. And so I threw my phone on my tripod that I use in the shop and I set it in the passenger seat of Loki. And then I ratchet strapped it down to the seat.
Nice.
And like put the seat belt around it. Like everything's good.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah. And so this is the view you got.
Okay.
Is that awesome?
Yeah.
It's like you're riding in the shotgun.
Like shotgun.
Yeah, your
seat.
shotgun.
Shotgun seat.
Yeah.
And so
So this is on my personal Facebook page. If you guys don't follow me on my personal Facebook page, go give me well, you don't even need to follow me. Just look up Steve Summers.
Look it up.
Yeah, look up Steve Summers. I'm in a red shirt with my cute little kid with me.
My baby.
But anyway, so yeah, we go watch that live video. It's 34 minutes long or something like that. But it is right here at the old it's I don't remember how long it is. It's it's almost an hour long. It's 49 minutes long. But right here at the 14-minute mark.
14 minutes.
Let me back that up. Hold on. It's at the 13-minute mark. No, it's before that.
Well, what had happened was that's what it sounds like.
What happened was I fucked up. Okay, so I came around the corner. Here it is. So that's a ditch up by my house. There's a bunch of pictures of me flexing out in it on like Instagram.
Here's a comment from your wife that says, "I'm not coming to pull you out if you get stuck."
Yeah, and then right below that is JD saying you almost jinxed him.
Yeah.
So I went down to the flat part so we could get down and look like down the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I pull off into the ditch there. Yeah. Little deeper than I thought.
Uh-ohs there. The beans. It's getting all the beans.
Make sure you guys go over to my Facebook page and find this. It's the newest, but it should be like one of the newest posts.
That's not good. And then your wife just popped another comment. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, here's somebody else reminding you that said your wife's not coming to get you. Like, thanks.
Who was that?
Elizabeth.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm like realizing because everything was drifted over like completely smooth.
Yep. What had happened was, I would not in the right ditch.
When that's dry, I can just drive right through it. Like, and then, Yeah, so it was deeper than I anticipated, and it was like probably 3 or 4 feet of snow right there. Probably at least 3 feet.
Yeah, that ditch is 5-6 feet deep right there. Got a ridge on the way. Like, wow,
Oops.
that's intense. Good, JD. Almost jinxed it.
Had I pulled down into the other part, it would have consumed the entire Jeep. That ditch is deeper than the Jeep is tall.
That would have been epic.
I would have had to call my next door neighbor with the backhoe and be like, "Okay, come get me."
Yeah, but when you got to get recovered with a backhoe,
yeah, when you're
on
fooling
live,
around on
is
live,
great.
that would have been great. Yeah, that would have been a pretty good one. Yeah, when I pulled back through. So this is what I was talking about with the lockers. I engaged the lockers to pull out of that. I'm like, I'll just lock the lockers in. Like it'll jerk itself out of there, and it didn't. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then later, when I come back around, I realize, oh, the air compressor's not plugged in. Oh, that would make an issue.
You need a pre-runner.
Oh, God,
that's what you need. You need
that
a
would
snow pre-runner. Just
check this out. We'll move this forward a little bit here. And where is this at? Somewhere. Anyway, I got to another part where it was deep. I just went past it. That's what it is right there. Anyway, one of the spots was like deep, and it was like pushing snow with the axle, and I was losing traction, and you could feel the front axle like chattering.
Shaking.
It was chattering because those upper links are not tight, and causing all sorts of
fix it.
Huh?
Fix it.
I'm gonna order some parts for that and fix it. That's my plan.
My plan.
Hopefully, I would love to do that and fix that and the rear drive shaft before Winterfest.
Do it.
Is my goal.
Was that 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Literally order 2-inch 2-inch wide Johnnies, which I think are like 3/4 or 7/8 or something. Order those and of like 3 feet of DOM.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just need to make some like U-shaped brackets to go around the other bushing that's on the axle.
Done.
So I do need to look and see if I can get the bushing out of one of the things. One of the bushings is sideways next to the diff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like tucked down into a corner.
Yep.
Because I didn't want it to hit the frame or the oil pan when I like bumped or flexed out. And so where that sits at, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it out of there, the bushing. So if that's the case, then I will need to build a new link mount for the top of the axle.
So you should probably start on that like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll
do some measuring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get everything squared away, get the parts ordered, get all that done, and then hopefully get some new links made for the top. But yeah. Some things like that.
I like it.
So, yeah. All right. So now that we got what we did this week, because you didn't do a damn thing, right?
Nothing.
Yeah, I didn't think so. And
nada.
I went and played the snow.
Nope.
Like, I just enjoyed low key snowing.
I looked out the window.
I was happy.
I drifted the work truck. That was pretty fun.
I told the wife, I was like, it's so funny how this works. So every time I watch the weather and they're like, it's going to snow, or, like there's something coming, and I watch it. I've been doing this all winter. And they're like, yeah, it's going to rain on this day. I'm like, fuck this. I'm just angry because like we're not getting like Chicago, like up north, like 18 miles or 20 miles north of us. They're getting like 3 to 5 inches and we're getting nothing. And I was just so disgruntled. And then this week, like Tuesday or it was like Thursday or Friday or whatever it was. I was watching the weather and they're like, yeah, this Sunday it's going to be 35 and potential for rain. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Everybody wanted the snow and now we get it. And they're like, okay, we're done with it. You can take it back.
I don't really want to take it back, but like now I'm okay. If we don't get if it doesn't dump another 8 inches, it's fine. I'm okay with that.
You can have the snow. Give me 75 degrees.
That's fine. But the thing is we don't get 75 degrees.
I know.
Like that's not an alternate option.
Yeah, I know. You get high humidity and hot as ass. All the swamp ass.
Yeah, palm trees is somewhere other than here. California.
It's depressing.
California. Sunny and drier.
Yep.
So, but anyway, we are going to give Jacob a call and get him on here. We're going to do some like KOH recap and talk about some ORA stuff, what he's got going on in the shop and things like that. So
let's dial him up.
All righty, let's give him a shout. Okay.
That's such an upsetting noise.
I don't care if that noise either.
It's like a limp noodle Like,
What's going on?
Another day.
So this is raw and unedited. This is we're literally just chatting you on the chat.
Nice.
We're calling you on the fly.
What the hell? Break down on the side of the interstate? Good Lord, man.
What is going on here?
That me?
What are you doing?
I'm literally walking to the shop right now, so I just crossed the road.
His Razor Turbo took a shit again, so he's got to walk back to the shop.
Stupid golf carts.
I didn't think about him being a pro Razor person.
Being pro Razor?
Yeah, we were just talking about that, weren't we, Steve?
Well, we were. Yeah. It was on the conversations in the Patreon content.
Yeah, I think, okay, this might work out in my favor then. Because
You
I'm
don't want my
pro-Razor.
advice. You saw how that went.
We're gonna.
Well, I mean, it seemed like a good time on the internet.
I don't know if you know this, but everything breaks at KOH.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like you're alone. My God, it's noisy over
Slam
there.
the door. That's why we can't have nice things.
Pretty much. Too many doors.
You got
No, trying to
17
find a quiet spot.
Trying to
It
find-
takes all this to get there.
Oh, and he walked into the building. Now he's got no service.
Yeah. I seen some thing on the internet that's like NASA can get a conversation from fucking Mars in like 6 hours, but I don't have internet or phone service in my garage. I'm like, that is a fact. Like, fuck the government, man. Like, we can have a phone call from fucking Mars. It takes a year to get there.
Yeah.
I can't talk to you from my garage.
It's funny because I thought the same thing yesterday with hammers.
Yep.
Of phone don't work here, but literally they're talking to Mars.
Yeah, we can talk to Mars, but we got to go stand next to a fucking bush in a desert.
There's a difference when you have FCC regulations and you are the FCC.
When you are the government, you can talk to whoever you want.
You can turn that shit up as much as you want. That's the thing. Cell phones, back when cell phones were not as prevalent, the wattage was higher. And so you could like reach out. And then remember we used to have antennas and now we don't?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You remember that? Like you have no service. You're like,
yeah, you'd extend the little cell phone antenna.
You pull your little antenna up, all of a sudden, boom, I got 4 bars.
Yep. You remember when Snake was the coolest thing you had on your phone? Did you never play that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
That's the coolest thing you had on your phone.
Nope, didn't have that on my phone.
My Nokia had Snake.
Yeah,
I'd
Nokia
play at night
had
and
it.
play that shit all day long. I might download. I'm sure you could download the Snake app.
Do you find a quiet place yet?
I think so. I'm in the shop, which hopefully nobody's around.
It sounds good. Like it sounds good over here. Pretty
That's
decent.
the nice part is once I get in the shop is the phone doesn't work, but we've got the shop set up for Wi-Fi and everything to where
Oh yeah, it goes
as long as my stupid phone doesn't screw up, it connects to that and works actually better inside than it does outside.
Okay, so do you want to tell us who we're talking to? Please state your full
Jacob
name.
with ORA.
That's the introduction you give yourself.
Yeah,
like,
Jacob with ORA.
we let
I'm
you
a-
introduce yourself, and that's all you give us. Like,
Yeah, I'm not good at that. I'll ask my friends on that.
I love it. So, I noticed on the face pages you were giving Shelby hell about KOH recap, which was from Shelby's point of view, it was knockout racing recap
yeah,
in the desert,
Oh yeah.
which was fine. But I was wondering, do you have a better recap? Can you recount your
well, he
week
did Razor
better?
things, so
He
the
did
answer
Razor,
is
it's different,
yes.
yeah.
And now I'm excited because I
Well,
want to do Razor things.
I got the newsletter.
yeah.
I was reading the newsletter. I was like, oh, this has got some information.
I
in here.
hate that email every time it comes into my inbox
because you're like, oh, I need that.
well, you got to look, you got to read it, and then you're just like, well, I wasn't involved in any of these cool activities,
Oh,
so
that
fuck
one, yeah.
my life. You know what I mean? Like,
This is true.
Well, that's always the funny
self-loathing.
thing with those is trying to figure out what to even put in them. Is that was kind of the joke when we started doing it. Is we're like, oh, well, we'll make a list of 10 or 12 things, and then we only got to put 3 or 4 a week in the thing, and it's like, think it sounds easy, and then it's not.
You should
and
try
then,
to. Yeah.
That was the funny thing with the Hammers one that went out Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it finally hit send at like 6:00 because Friday was such a just crap storm of everything going on, and it's like, yep, this is what it's getting. Send now.
Yeah, it looked good. I didn't mind it. Yeah. So you raced at KOH
Mm-hmm.
in a micro vehicle.
Yeah,
in
golf cart.
a less than full size in a golf cart. So, what golf cart class were you in?
So it's considered 4,900 class.
Okay.
And so we qualified Monday and then raced Thursday.
Nice. Damn, that's a spread.
That's a long week.
Yeah. What'd you do in the meantime? Watch everybody else race?
That was the plan, was test and tune and watch and take notes. And I think we were literally still working on the turbo while most of the people were qualifying on Monday.
Oh, geez.
And luckily, when was it? It was all a whirlwind, but
see, that seems to be the case.
Yep.
Well, and that was the worst part. Like, I guess to not turn it into a 14 million long story, but basically I wasn't ready. And which is normal nature for me, unfortunately.
Right.
But that's just because
I
I always
don't have any
take
room
on
to talk.
Yeah. Well, my thing is I always take on too much crap. And that's the cool thing with having cool things in the shop and computer design and this and that. And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to make this fancy. And next thing I know, 2 days later. And
I got a lot of time in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what turned into it. And I kept thinking I was fine. And finally it was problem after problem, especially with all the stuff going on right now. Like, I literally couldn't get parts, which is half of why I ended up with such a built motor. Is the only way I could get parts is going the best of the best, because it was the only stuff on the shelf. And so basically, I think I was supposed to be at the dyno the week before Hammers. Luckily, they were super cool, and I don't think we made it till the dyno till Wednesday.
Wow. And
so we literally, me and a couple of guys that are just helping like crazy getting ready. We worked for, I think, 2 days straight. I think I drove the thing the first time Wednesday at 5 o'clock in the morning and woke my buddy up that was sleeping in his toter waiting for me because he was supposed to leave the day before. And literally loaded it up. Jesus. They left with it at, I think, 6 or 7 in the morning, Wednesday morning, to head to the dyno. I think I left an hour after them with no sleep, drove all the way almost down to you guys, actually. It's just at the border.
Good grief.
And then tuned it till I think 4 o'clock when they showed back up with the other buggy going to Hammers. And it left, and I came home, and I think I finally got to go to bed at about 10 o'clock, like 40 hours later. And got up the next morning and hopped on a plane and somehow still managed to beat it out there to the lake bed. But
yes, seems like a great time. I love it.
This is every big event ever.
So then the only time that we got to walk around at Hammers basically was the 4 hours that we beat the car to the lake bed, because once the car showed up, we still had to finish it. It wasn't wired. It was in boxes still.
Oh my god! How'd they tune it with it not all? The motor was all set up, but everything else was not.
Yeah, so it was done enough to drive.
That was it.
And so it had no skid plates. It had no accessory wiring. It had everything it needed to move, but nothing more. And so we finished it. What it would have been Thursday, I think, on the lake bed. And then I think Friday was the first time we got to go out and actually mess with it. And another guy in our group that was running the side-by-side class didn't know a ton on shock stuff. And we're like, well, we're going to go shock tune the best that we can if you guys want to tag along. And we went out and made a couple hits in a section we found and just kept losing boost. And basically, we had a couple problems at the dyno and found that one of the boost controller sensors was bad. And luckily, those guys killed it and had parts all over the place. And we put a manual controller on it and got it working. So we're thinking, cool, the ride across the country, the controller spun. Like, let's just keep turning it up. And as we turned it up, the boost went down and down and down. And
it's going the wrong way.
It's wired
we're
backwards.
turning it up and it's going down.
It's just wired backwards. It's easy fix.
Yeah, basically. And so we couldn't figure it out. And it's supposed to make 20 pounds of boost. And we're down to like 7 pounds after 2 days of chasing this.
Oh, that's wild.
And finally called the company, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry, that's a known problem. The wastegate arm spins on the shaft."
So
We're like, you kidding me? Like, we're supposed to qualify in the morning.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, well, we'll next day you won. I'm like, cool, but that still does us no good. And so luckily,
that's not something you could just fix, huh?
Well, you'd probably weld the fucking arm to the shaft. Is about
that's
the
what
only
we ended up doing.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Spun it back out and welded it?
So we spent, what was it? No. So this was Sunday. No, it was Monday because it was business hours. So we figured it out day of qualifying, I want to say.
Oh my God.
And so to rig it up to at least qualify on some boost, we pulled the wastegate arm off, cut the Heim down so that we could pull the arm farther.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got it to hold about 11 or 12 pounds of boost for qualifying, which is the tune. I don't know if you guys saw the tune video, but that was on 20 pounds when we made 211, I think, at the wheels.
That's ridiculous. And
when we did a pull on, I think, 13 pounds, so more boost, we were only at like 140.
Yeah.
So we were almost half power for qualifying. And so then after that, the turbo was supposed to be there Tuesday. So we're like, screw it. Let's have fun tonight. We can pull the turbo off in the time that it takes for the turbo to get here in the morning.
Uh-huh.
Pulled it all off. Those guys left to go pick it up the road. And they call us an hour later. We can't find it. And so they finally figured a few things out. UPS ended up losing it somewhere and wasn't going to have it till the next day, which didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So at this point, we had the turbo off. We broke the arm off well, I shouldn't even say broke. We literally took a pair of pliers and it fell off.
Oh.
The wastegate arm off. Went over to the North Shore guys that we were kind of with, and they had a TIG welder, welded it back on, and pretty much spent all day Tuesday putting it back together. And finally got well, I shouldn't even say that. Since we turned it up so much, I think we made about 23 pounds of boost in the parking lot. So it was back to party mode.
Just don't wide open throttle it.
Or do.
Well, luckily it was controllable, so I think we turned it back down to like 19 to be safe.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you guys saw my middle of the night Facebook story of in the middle of the desert.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, you were like, something broke or something, and you were like, I hear noises.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
So my phone does not work at all out there, but apparently in the middle of the lake bed, miles and miles away from camp, it does work.
Nice.
And
is that the phone bush?
Basically. No, that's cell phone hill or something.
Yeah.
But so me and my brother are like, okay, well it's now 9 or 10 o'clock at night out here. We need to go get seat time. I'm going out. And like dummies, full power, we go ripping across the lake bed at 85 plus mile an hour for about 5 minutes straight.
Oh, yes.
And finally find out that the belt doesn't like that. And so we blew a belt in the long ways out. And so I think we were stranded in the desert for, I think it was roughly an hour before they finally got the rental truck all the way out to us with the tools we needed.
Wow.
And so that's what that story was.
How cold was that?
It was definitely chilly, especially because we weren't planning on being gone long. So we weren't, of course, prepared.
Yeah. But you're from Michigan. You're from Canada, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's Canadian weather.
Michigan.
For the record, give us some specs on the vehicle here that we're talking about in case people don't know about it.
So it started out as a 2016 Turbo Razor. And phase one was supposed to be throw a cage at it, throw some nicer stuff at it. Like we put the bigger RS1 diff in it. And then I got a smoking deal on it because it had a bad trans. So we built the trans and threw 300M shafts at it and a couple other odds and ends and got it kind of scrambled together enough to go do the Trailmaster race that I've kind of told you guys about in the past that we put on.
Yep.
And we literally, more of my bad luck, made the qualifying lap and the motor blew up.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
So then, of course, we missed the first Ultra 4 race because that was 2 weeks later. And so that snowballed into pretty much cutting everything but the main rails out of the chassis. And then building a big bore motor, big turbo, like pretty.
Jesus.
Motor's supposed to be about 300 horse, and that was the cool thing is we built a 300 horse motor, detuned it to where it could just beat the living daylights out of it and not worry about it when it actually builds boost.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty good.
So yeah, we got MRT on board this year. They hooked us up with a set of 33-inch stickies, which are unbelievably soft. Like I've got a set of 43 stickies sitting next to them, and those feel rock hard compared to these things.
Oh my!
They just
Extra
stepped on board
sticky.
as the official title sponsor for Point One, so I'm excited to check out some of their products and stuff. There's some pretty cool people. So
they are super cool people.
Yep.
I just talked to him Friday again of going over Hammer's stuff, and he was out at the Parker 250, and I'm like, oh, I need this and this for a race next weekend. He's like, cool, I'll call the shop and have it sent tomorrow. Like, no big deal.
Nice. Yeah, they're pretty awesome
I love
people
it.
from what I've come to find out.
So,
I was going somewhere with this.
Okay.
So that's what you're rolling with. So now the people know what you're doing. So I have a question. It's a complete side tangent. So we have a bunch of their Polaris Rangers. It's like the crew, but they're diesel. But so as far as like I hear all these people talking about changing belts and stuff like that. And the common problem that I run into on these rental units is people drive them like a rental. So there's a bearing on the clutch, and I'm curious on how much this transfers over to like a Razor or something like other than this Polaris Ranger diesel. The bearing in between the primary clutch seizes up, and then you end up snapping a shift cable. But to change this belt out, like, I guess it's because I've done a lot of them here recently, but it's a pretty easy process as far as like I pulled the tire off because I can just pick it up with a crane on the truck. So I pull the tire off, pull the air cleaner off. I don't know. It's like 10 8mm screws, pull the plastic cover off, pop the clutch off, pop a belt on, put it back together. Like, am I missing something, or is that literally what it is?
I think that's it. I don't know on those. I know the diesels are a little different, and I am definitely no clutch guru on these things. I get lucky.
The problem is I've done like 5 last week, so I'm getting pretty good at this.
Let me help you. Let me help you, Ian.
Yeah,
it's that. Except for everything's everything's muddy.
Yeah. Well, the problem I'm running into is all this shit's covered in mud that's now frozen.
Oh, okay.
So the worst part of the whole job is to get into it, motherfucker. Like, because you can't just start chipping at it because the brake lines run right there on the frame.
Oh, nice.
So so I'm like getting to it, just getting the air filter housing. You just take the cap off the air filter is a joke because it's all right there by the tire. It's all covered in mud. But I'm no kidding. I've probably done 4 or 5 of this week because that bearing that the clutch or that the belt rides on seizes to the shaft. And then it just kind of keeps a load. So then these guys take the shift cable and just ram the fuck out of it and break it. So you put the shift cable back on and it does the same thing. So you got to pop it off and put a $600 clutch on it.
Is that clutch set up like a snowmobile where it's just tapered?
Yeah.
And the belt just slides up and down?
Yep. And then that bearing's in the center. It's just a smooth little bearing.
Right.
And it seizes and that belt's supposed to slip on it.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's because they drive the shit out of them with like, the other day there was 6 dudes, 6 full-size adults
in a Ranger,
in this fucking crew cab diesel Ranger. The bed's full of shit. Like the belly is damn near dragging the ground. And I'm like, and then they're like, well, these things go slow. I'm like, they're designed to go slow because you idiots do that with them. Like, you don't need to do 40 some miles an hour with 6 dudes in a loaded
crammed
Ranger.
into a Ranger.
Absolutely, you do.
And if you do, you need a turbo.
You need a
and
turbo.
more things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got a gas one in the other day. It's just a 570 Ranger. Is all it is, but it's got a gas engine in that. So that one's got the seatbelt bullshit. So the guy that had it was bitching. He's like, "That thing only goes 15 miles an hour. It's ridiculous." And I'm like, "Did you plug the seatbelt in?" No. Well, plug the seatbelt in and call me back. calls me back. I do not need this out here. This is ridiculous. I'm like, bro, I drove around and hit about 48 and was like, this is dumb.
Really?
Yeah.
With a bench seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bench seat.
Yeah.
Feels like you're going to fall out the side.
in snow with these like steel piles all around. I'm like, I'm going to
why
impale
is the
myself.
gasser so much more?
It's not governed. So the diesel, from what I found, the diesel top speed is like 25 mile an hour.
Okay.
You can put a clutch spacer kit in to limit it to 15 miles an hour. And I can turn it, and without the clutch spacer, you can adjust the throttle cable
to make it faster.
to get a little bit more RPMs out of the old girl. And I had one that hit about almost 30. It was probably like 28, 29 mile an hour. Downhill.
Wind at your back.
I was excited. Yeah. But apparently that's it for the diesel.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I don't get it. I guess they assume that if you got by the diesel version, you're doing more like farm stuff.
Yeah. It's here for the torque, not for the race car stuff.
Boy, the other one, it was a 2020 570 Ranger. I don't even know. It's not a turbo or anything. I don't know. Fucking engine is probably coal or junker.
I don't even think you can get those in a turbo.
Well, the Ranger.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't know why you need the utility and race things.
So it does about 50 with the with an NA motor.
Dude, and of course everything's slick snow. Yeah. And boy, you just stomp it in 4-wheel drive and it would just
nice. So how fast were you running across the lake bed in yours, Jake?
So when we found out that 85 close to 90 didn't like belts, which sucked because it would do it all day. Like it had so much more.
No fucks.
Wow. And well, we played that card that night and it bit us.
Yeah.
And so no, that was the frustrating part race day is we knew it would go 90 plus, but we were running, I think we were averaging like 72 to 75 to just keep belt temps where they needed to
just
be.
Highway speeds across the desert. No big deal.
God, my heart
and that's the weird part. Like,
on a
sticky tire.
So how do you combat that? Because obviously you're gonna cook the belt, but like
the problem was time. Like we were prepared, but we weren't as prepared as we should be, and I'd like to be. And so
is there an upgraded
pretty
part?
much? Yes. Okay. And that's the nice thing is it's got all the really nice STM billet clutching in it. And that was the thing that royally screwed us with these turbo issues is that was our plan is the first day we were there, we were supposed to go tune the shocks and tune the clutching. And we spent those 3 days chasing turbo problems. And so we never got to, I shouldn't say we did end up playing with the clutching literally the night before race day. And it was just a shot in the dark, hope for the best. And then the part that you guys will like is after we blew the belt that night, the next morning, a couple of the guys ran into Yucca and went to Home Depot and we got some 4-inch flexible dryer vent, some 90s and some hose clamps. And we built a legit snorkel up onto the roof for the belt.
Cold air kit.
And that actually helped.
I wasn't thinking about the belt. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if these guys are just delusional or what, but they don't need a snorkel in the desert.
It's a fresh air kit.
And then for the belt, I was like, oh, well, that's kind of brilliant, you know.
Genius. Roll down with some dryer hose. Keep that clutch cold.
But yeah, that was the funny thing though, race day is like, that was what was frustrating is we knew it would go 90 plus and most people weren't. Like we were rolling with traffic in the flat sections, but like we had one dude, we were probably, like I said, 70, 75 and just blows by us. And no joke, a minute later, we come through a chicane and it's just a dust cloud everywhere. And then all of a sudden you see officials waving. And there's that dude that blew by us at 90, just yard sailed everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's like, well, that didn't work out.
Right. Yeah. Maybe 90 wasn't a great idea.
He must have hit dust and couldn't see where he was going. And you were supposed to turn. And I'm guessing he didn't turn.
Was he all right?
As far as I know, they were just waving people around so that you didn't drive into the dust into him type thing. But,
right.
But that was the funny thing. Like I'm normally good for a sprint and not a marathon type race, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so that was the joke. Like, no, you need to make it last all day. And so we were just on a Sunday cruise and it was funny. Everybody that blew by us, we'd pass them a couple minutes later, broke. And,
you just drive by, like the turtle. It's like the tortoise.
Beat the horn at him.
Tortoise in the hair. They go blowing by you, then you come cruising back by them while they're sitting broke.
Like, hi.
Yeah. So how did you guys end up? So you ended up losing power steering.
So race day, we ran the desert, or we started the desert loop, obviously, and then we were being smart, trying not to change a belt because I didn't want to get out, and we were actually doing pretty decent. We ended up kind of screwed ourselves and literally got a pit pulling into, or not a pit, got a flat pulling into pit 1 because my brother makes fun of me. He's my co-driver. Is we're trying to figure out where the lane was because it came like 5 lanes of trail into 1 to pull into remote pit 1. And I look up and I'm like, oh, there goes Lauren Healy. Smash right into a boulder and cut the right rear tire.
You were fanboying, and you should have
That's
been co-driving.
exactly what he said. He's like, you dummy, you took and looked the wrong way and didn't even see the boulder you just ran into. And so it cut the tire. So luckily, literally, we didn't even know it was flat as we were pulling into the pit, and they waved us down and was like, yeah, no, you have a flat. So they fixed that real quick, and we went back out and did pretty decent on the rest of the desert loop. And then so you went out through remote 1, did 40 or 50 miles after remote 1, came back through remote 1, and then it was another, I forget exactly, but 10 or 15 miles back to Maine, Hammertown. And somewhere between Maine and Hammertown I think we were on about mile 60 something and lost all boost, like zero boost this go around. And so we pull into Maine, and it's going in and out of limp mode and no boost, so no power. And they're looking it all over and can't find anything other than that the arm is not in the right spot again. And so that's what I asked the guy. So Ryan, the guy that put my motor together, was there with us. And I'm like, so do I need to worry about this, or do I just hold it on the floor the rest of the day? And he's like, nope, you got a built motor. Hold it on the floor the rest of the day and you'll be fine.
When the guy,
he does also get paid when you grenade this one too and buy another one.
That's what I'm worried about.
Does he?
Oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Just run it. Oh yeah, you're going to need a new rebuild, bud. Like,
I don't know.
I hope not.
When the guy that built it tells you to run it, I guess you're like, well, you built it, so you should know.
Well, that, and it was very much like, we're at Hammers, we're not stopping.
You're right, yeah. He's like, I'll build you a new one. Don't worry about it. Just go.
Yeah, and so that's what we were all nervous about, is basically lap 2 is all of the nasty rock trails. And we're like, it was being an absolute dog. And then if it went in lip mode, like, it wouldn't get out of its own way. And so we're worried that we're even going to make the rock trails due to lack of power. And we would pull over, shut it off, clear the codes, reset, and we'd be good for a little while. And so we got through the rocks, and we were actually passing lots of people in the rocks, it felt like, at least, because people are either upside down or broke. And then, of course, I picked a dumb line that my brother yelled at me for, and we ended upside down also.
Nice. Well, you want to be one of the cool kids. I mean, that's just how that works.
Yeah, something. So if you ask him, the passenger side of the rig is destroyed and the driver's side looks brand new.
Well, that's how it always is. Like, I don't even care racing or not, like trail wheeling.
Yeah.
Go look at the driver's side and go look at the passenger side.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Typically.
I don't know why, but it just is what it is.
Oh, it is. And I couldn't believe that the door was still attached. Like, when we rolled, of course, it was his side. We smashed into a house-sized boulder on Chocolate Thunder, of course, on his side. The
a house-sized
passenger
boulder.
front A-arm is bent, of course, his side. A-pillar and door bar are bent on his side. My side doesn't have a scratch.
Jeez. I was listening you look at the video. I was watching some of the videos and stuff as I was working and watching like the videos of the boulder, of like going through the rock areas and stuff like that. And like, you could tell they're big, but you just don't realize how big they really are.
So the funny thing is, this year, almost all the guys that came out and helped me and made it for me to even be there, because if I had literally had one less person helping get this ready, I wouldn't have been there. And trying to explain it to them is always, or anybody, is interesting. Like, you don't know how, you can't explain it. And so that was the funny thing when we all got home. we were all talking about it, and they were trying to explain to somebody, and I'm like, now you see what I mean. Like, you can explain it, but you can't. Like, until you've been out there, there's nothing like it. Especially when you're used to the East Coast.
Right. You're like, why are these rocks so big?
What are these rocks doing here?
Why are these giant rocks in the middle of nowhere?
Well, the funny thing is, like, my girlfriend makes fun of me for literally on your way to remote pit 2 of how you would take if you were going to pit, not racing.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally going through, like would be equivalent to a 4-lane road that's just, like a gravel road almost in a sense. There's literally a square boulder the size of like 2 school buses just chilling.
God. Just hanging out in the middle of it, like, good Lord.
Take a moment, Ian, to think about that. The size of
and
2
it's not like in a boulder
buses.
field. It's just literally the size of by itself.
Aliens.
And I don't know why I always find that boulder so cool, but that's how I know I'm going the right direction to pit 2. But
like, oh, there it is.
There's the 2 school bus boulder. That's a left.
There's the double wide.
Yeah, and it's not like it's in a field of boulders. It's literally by itself.
By itself. That's crazy. And is it in the middle of like the area or like right next to the road?
It's right next to the road.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to go out there.
Stuff.
That's so cool.
But yeah, tangent wise, since I'm as bad about it as you guys are. So we got through most of the rock trails, and then coming back through Chocolate Thunder is where I pretty much screwed us. At least that's what he'll tell you for me not listening to him again. And took a line trying to pass somebody that I probably shouldn't have. Smashed into that house-sized boulder and lost steering. Kept trying to reset it. Wouldn't. And these things are absolutely horrid to drive without power steering, especially in the rocks.
Oh, I can imagine.
And so we made our way down Chocolate Thunder and then turned to come up. Is it Idle Issues or I always screw up the names?
No idea.
So we fought with the steering, wouldn't reset, and we're like, well, I guess let's try. And it's a pretty hard section, and we got up in there and literally got into a section, and the front drooped out and bellied out and ripped the wheel right out of my hand and broke the front left shaft because of it.
That's crazy.
Gee, Merry Christmas.
You think the broken shaft was due to lack of power steering?
Yes. So what happened is it literally got traction and hooked so hard that it turned it full lock and bound the tire.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just yesterday pulled the shaft out, and it only broke the cage somehow. It didn't. But so basically at that point we had no steering and was short a shaft, and was like, we can literally see Hammertown from this spot. We're going to hang out here, help some people, and we'll leave when it dies down.
Nice. I mean, yep. You got to know when to know. You know when to call it.
Well, and that was the thing. Like, there was no way we still had, I think, 3 of some of the hardest rock trails left before we even made it to remote 2. And I'm like, we couldn't make this section with no steering and 4 wheels. Now we have no steering and 3 wheels. We're not going nowhere.
It's crazy. Anything else like noteworthy from your week at Hammertown other than the race, like other than you racing?
I guess that would be, I don't know if I want to say the only downfall this year was because of all of the problems that like I literally didn't get to do much, to where in the years past, just going and helping versus racing, like I feel I got to do a lot more.
That's what I'm gathering between you and Shelby. Like, if you're part of a race team doing race stuff, like you don't get to enjoy, you don't get to, take in.
You do and you don't.
Yeah.
And
you got to be in your zone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned over the years too. And that's what I told all my guys that were the first time out there. I'm like, if we are literally not head deep in something and you're not like, need to be there helping, go have fun. Like that's been my biggest complaint in the past is, not being able to see as much stuff as you think you'd like to. And, but on that note too, like, make fun of you guys.
I don't think we need to do that today, but whatever.
You can totally fly in, get a 2-wheel drive rental F-150 and have the time of your life out there.
Oh, you bet
Like,
we can.
Or I could show up with a toter, a stacker trailer full of race cars. I could race the King of Hammers, win the King of Hammers, win the UTV race. I mean, it's goals,
Good.
right?
I mean, I
You
like
just
it.
only need about $10 million.
Oh,
No, you don't.
only.
You don't need to, man. You just need to sabotage everybody else so that all you need to do is complete the race.
Now, this is a goal I can get behind. Turbo problems for everyone. Why? Your turbos are all missing.
Just buy them from the same place I've been buying them.
So, hopefully, you're going to have that fixed, would be the goal.
well,
So-
yeah, one would think.
That's the funny timing of this phone call is I was supposed to go wheeling yesterday, and
Weren't we all?
yeah, and
I didn't plan on it. I'm not going to lie.
but no, so of course I stayed up till 2:00 in the morning Friday night, like changing out for the new turbo, changed that axle out, did the few things that we knew were still broke from hammers, so we could go beat the living daylights out of it yesterday and figure out what else needed to be fixed from hammers before the next race, and literally pull it out of the shop yesterday as they're on their way to come pick me up because they were going to throw it in their enclosed since they had room. And I literally drove it for less than 2 minutes and was losing boost again.
Oh my God.
And
This is a known problem.
Yeah.
this is like literally, I just put this brand new turbo on the night before. And
Angry face.
yeah, so I was not thrilled. And that's the picture you probably saw yesterday of the wastegate being stuck open. That is literally a brand new turbo. And
that's annoying.
so, yeah.
And so what are these like?
at
Are
least-
these like top quality? Like supposedly the top quality
supposed
turbos?
to be like they're the only one that currently is easily available that is a water cooled turbo. So these don't come with a water cooled turbo, only the new Pro XPs do.
Yeah.
And so basically these are for lack of better words, a knockoff version of the Pro, but they're modded with bigger
Right.
compressor housing and all that stuff. And
Good grief.
I'm like, cool, the biggest thing in Ultra 4 is heat, so I want a water-cooled turbo instead of just oil. And
Love it.
yeah, they're junk. So
Well, the
luckily,
turbo itself seems to be fine. It's the wastegate. It's the wastegate issue.
so far, yeah.
And what's the cause? Like, so from you messing with two of these now, what is causing that issue?
I wish I could tell you.
Okay,
His
so you
poor
don't.
I shouldn't say
manufacturer.
that. The first one that we fought with for 2 to 3 days on the lake bed
Yeah.
is they were sticking the arm on the wastegate shaft, flush welding it, and then grinding it smooth.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what ended up happening out there is it literally cracked the weld because there was no weld left.
Right. So it's
And then so that's the part I left out actually, is then the next day after race day, once the turbo was cool enough, we unbolted the actuator arm and the shaft literally fell out. It broke the shaft in half and the wastegate valve was stuck in the muffler.
Oh wow. So the wastegate defaults to full open when the shaft's not connected?
So kind of, but
Okay.
basically it was worse than that.
Oh.
It literally looks like
It
a
was gone.
valve in your head and on a flapper door in a
Yep.
sense that just closes the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And literally the shaft that valve is attached to broke in half. So it just fell out.
Huh. So it's definitely a manufacturing issue here.
Something.
Yeah.
So luckily Wayland Speed did all of the tuning on it and he did an awesome job. And I talked to him the other day about it again, and he's got one in the works that we're planning to put on it. The only downfall is it's in the works. So
Yeah, well, so can it be any worse than what you have right now?
I don't even mean it like that. I just mean it like I
when's it
can't
coming?
get one yet.
Yeah, when's it coming? Right. That's rough. I get it.
But no, since like I said, we're good at tangents. Your question of any other highlights, like
Yeah.
no, it's just sweet. Like you can't explain it. Like you go up to Chocolate Thunder for say at night, which is, I'm not going to say walking distance from Hammertown because it's not, but you can see it from Hammertown. And when you look back, it is insane the size of Hammertown. Like you are literally in the middle of nowhere, and yet the glow of
there's a
Hammertown
city.
is bigger than the town that I live in.
Yeah. Well, well, how many people did they say how many people were out there this year?
So unofficially, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say, but ironically, my brother sat next to one of the CDC guys that was doing all of it. He, I think, told him over 80,000.
Yeah.
And the thing I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but I'm going to, is he told him out of 80, some reason I think he said 88,000.
Uh-huh.
They only had 3 positive cases that they turned around.
Jeez. Isn't that wild?
No comment.
Yeah. 88,000 people, 3 positive cases.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Well, yeah, we're not going to get into that whole conversation because that's going to go real tangent real quick.
Yeah.
On another note, that sounds awesome. Sounds like you had a great week. Do you want to talk about what you do in your shop a little bit since we have you on here already? And maybe keep you on for another 10, 15 minutes and kind of BS about your about Offered Anonymous.
The day job.
The good stuffs. First off,
Something
you
like
need to make me a set of Dana 44 gussets for my inner C's. Okay.
Like we were talking a while back.
Yeah, I need those. I need you to make them for me. I don't want to buy them. I can buy them from somewhere else, but I don't want to.
So what were we talking? Because I know we talked about the basic shock tab, but you're talking more
you
like
sent a
the
shock
formed
tab.
ones that
that everybody
go up and down.
Yeah, they go on the upper and the bottom, top and bottom of the inner C. So the only thing, my axle's already trussed. We already discussed that a while back.
Yep.
And then I was gonna change the axle out, but the other Dana 44 I have is from an F250 and it's an inch longer, so I know my shafts won't work, and it was just gonna be a nightmare. And I was like, never mind.
That's why I hate 44s. Made too many of them.
They made too many of them, right? And so the only thing on that axle really that kind of concerns me is 40-inch tires and no inner C gussets.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I should really look into this and make this a priority this summer. So that's why I hit you up and was like, hey, do you make these? Do you have a file for these? But
Do you know what year your 44 is?
79.
It's a 79 Ford.
I believe so.
So I hate 44s because there's so many of them, and
do you want me to
change like every 2 years?
Do you want me to?
But honestly,
do you want me to
easy answer would be that cardboard template,
right? Mail it to you.
That's the hardest part is getting a profile.
Yeah, you should make it close. I got a welder
And
that fills gaps.
Grind the gaps.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I know I've done trusses for those housings, but then that's where I was starting to think backwards of that doesn't mean I would have the C profile.
Right.
But
yeah.
what I can't remember on those is even though the axle tube is different lengthwise for shafts and stuff like you're saying, I can't remember if the C's are much different on that generation. Where,
and somebody said that I could use. Somebody said I could use the C's from like a TJ. I think.
See, and that's
from like
I've heard that
Rubicon.
too.
Yeah, that those were, but the JK you can't because they got a bigger. Their C's are bigger.
Yeah, they're a lot taller.
Yeah, which would be nice.
So you're just trying to get a stronger.
I just want
inner C.
I just want to reinforce that inner C a little bit. So if I do bounce off a rock a little bit, I don't buckle it.
Yeah, I just gusset it and call it a day.
I'm gonna. That's what I'm planning on doing. Is gussing it, and
that'd be a hell of a lot easier than cutting and swapping C's.
If we're cutting and swapping C's, it's going to cut and swap a 9-inch under the front of it.
Do it.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
we're not modifying a 44 housing.
Oh, people do it.
Oh yeah, I know, but I'm not doing it. If we're doing that, we're putting a 9-inch in the center.
$34,000 later.
Well, and I'll agree to disagree on that one because, like, the cool way to do it is getting a 9904 Dana 50 because people throw them away for $100.
Yep.
All the outers are the same.
I have all the same for what?
As in the 60s. So a Dana 50 and a Dana 60, 99-04. So if you get the 99-02, which is pretty good chance a Dana 50 and not a 60, you can pick them up cheap.
Yeah.
But the C's, the knuckles, the bearings, the brakes, even the stub shafts are all the same as the 60. So the cool part is you can pick up a Dana 50 for $100 or $200,
right?
And then
you have Dana 60.
put all the stuff.
You have ball joint Dana 60 outers.
Yeah, and then basically put that on a 9-inch housing, and you can build a poor man 9-inch for not that much money.
It's the center section that is the issue here.
Well, and that's where it gets expensive fast because you could totally throw a stock 9-inch in, but they're notorious for the center section to explode, basically, the nodular or non-nodular.
Yeah.
And then, you start talking lockers at $1,000 and stuff like that.
Right. But if you're going to do it, just buy a high 9 center housing, spend the $4,000 or what was it, $5,000 we came up with the air locker.
Pretty good money.
Yeah.
I forget the last one I got. I think I just sold one. Well, no, it wasn't a high 9. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was going to say I was closer to 3, but that was why.
A regular 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. With reverse cut gears and that.
Yeah. Because that's the cool thing is if you didn't go high pinion, you can, I think less than 3 build a 35 spline,
right?
9-inch with a selectable.
And the thing is in all reality, I don't really absolutely need a high pinion for housing.
But if you're doing it,
I mean, you're not wrong about that.
It's a sweet way to go, especially.
Oh yeah.
Well, you've got a longer front shaft being an XJ to where it's not the end of the world for angles, but.
And I'm so low. I'm so low that my angles aren't really that out of control.
And that's the whole reason for spending big money. Well, it's not the only, but it's the main reason.
Yeah.
When I talk someone into a high 9 is because they need it so they can fit a drive shaft.
Right. Yep. 100%. You got any other cool?
Just build it around off the shelf stuff.
All right. You got anything else cool in the works? Any new parts that you're working on coming out with?
So, yes and no. I should say yes. The only reason I say no is hammers was a horrible business decision because that's where all of my free time has been going.
Yeah.
So
you know what though? You have to do things that you enjoy.
Well, and that's it.
You can't work 24/7.
And I do, and that's the stupid part. And so that's more a backstory, I guess, of the ORA question. And it's up to you guys. That might even be a different episode for say. But like I had an 85 Toyota truck was my first. I got it when I was 15, and that got V8 swapped, 1-ton swapped, 44s. Like, it was a fun rig, and it was totally the, early 20s budget. So it was still leaf sprung, and I still broke stuff all the time, and I'm not nice to things. And I basically parted that out when I started ORA.
Okay.
And I haven't really had something since. I got a 900 Razor that I wheeled for quite a while, and same thing back to not being nice to things. Like, it's sitting here right now with no motor in it and no diff in it because I blew the front diff up and I blew the motor up racing it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of fixing that, some reason I went and bought a turbo Razor and now broke that one.
Because mo turbo, mo better.
It sounds like there's a common denominator here, and it seems to be the driver.
Needs more billet.
Basically.
More billet.
But so, like you said, though, I literally haven't had a wheeling rig in 8 or 9 years, it seems like now. Right. And that's the funny thing, like, I've got 2 side-by-sides, and I don't consider myself a side-by-side person. Like, I know big rigs. I'll be the first person to say that side-by-sides do not replace a wheeling rig.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's not the same.
They're an absolute riot. And the reason I love them, though, is I literally go a half mile down the road from the shop and I can hop on trails and go trail ride all day long.
Wow. Well,
and that's what's so cool to me with a side-by-side is you can do that stuff.
That'd be so nice.
Yep.
I wish we could go a half mile away and drive and go trail riding.
Yeah. Well, that's,
you guys got Badlands.
Badlands. Cool.
Whoa.
No, you guys need to come up and go to Canada with us.
I know. We need to come up to Canada and see you.
Yes.
All right.
You need to go up to Curly's and go to Morningwood off-road where it's the only thing comparable is when you go all the way down south. Really? It's the only thing I've compared to going up there.
I need to.
Is that like desert stuff where we could do some cool, like fast
no,
stuff?
In Canada?
I don't know. Hardcore rock to where you don't go more than 10 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're scratching the rock itch.
Is it all granite? Okay. Is it all like granite type up there? Like
maybe.
Yeah. I
guess I'm bad at that one.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of rock it is. Is it black?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot. Yeah, up there, the rock definitely changes. The type of rock definitely changes. It's not so much shale up there.
Well, that's the funny thing. You cross the bridge into the UP, and it's literally like a light switch for that statement.
That's wild.
But
I love it.
No, like I can't remember from talking to you guys before if you've been to Drummond.
No, I'm not. It's on my check. It's on my list. I don't know when I'm going to get to check it off, but I really want to go. It's just a long trip.
But it doesn't compare to going to Canada.
Really?
And so, for example, the easy comparison is the access trails at Curly's place are more hardcore than Drummond's trails.
Wow.
Nice.
I like it.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Bouncer fit? Will Bouncer fit in this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Is it gonna need gears?
Yes.
Is it gonna need rear steer?
Yes.
It's all bonuses.
Yeah.
But
no,
certainly
gears
for
are pretty
references-
essential to this party.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But short of crossing the border, it is literally the same distance. Once you cross the Mackinac Bridge, you turn right and head to Drummond, or you go straight and head to Canada, and it's the same distance.
What do I need to take my rig into Canada?
Disregard for body damage.
Well,
No,
I mean getting across the border.
Oh, you're talking legally. Nothing. You just go.
You just go. You just show up. It's
You
fine.
gotta have
Once
a
they're open
passport
again.
for that,
may,
though, right?
may need to have a passport.
Yeah, you just need your passport.
I
And
don't have one of those.
they ask you questions and make you feel like a bad person, like you're doing something illegal.
No, we are. We're having fun.
Yes. Hi, I'm coming to destroy your woods and leave carbon footprints everywhere.
Yes.
Pretty much. Well, that's the sweet thing. Like, he's got natural creek beds running through the property.
Oh my
and
god! How big is that area?
I forget what he has for land. I think it's around 300 acres.
Okay, so it's not huge, but you can't go very fast.
Can't
so
go very
massive.
fast. You're going to spend a while.
while.
It's nothing like going to a 300 acre park that you're used to.
Right.
Like, you can be there for 3 or 4 days and not run most of the
Jeez.
trails.
Okay, so I'm going to get my passport together. I'm going to get my crew cab all fixed up and ready to tow stuff. And then I'm going to Canada with you.
Hey.
Yep.
It's on my Canada is on my checklist.
It's definitely a
That would be cool.
place that
wheel
needs
there.
to be on the checklist.
Yeah.
It's definitely on my checklist.
Wheel
so
in Canada. That'd
we're
be
going to
kinda
talk
neat.
more about that. for
We
sure.
should.
Yeah.
Are you coming to, what's your event schedule this year look like? Like, what are you doing this year?
So the next big push that I need to start prepping the golf cart for is, what is it? I keep getting them mixed up. I think it's Rush, Kentucky is the next Ultra 4 race.
I think so.
And then with the Trailmaster schedule of the endurance race that we put on, I built that schedule this year around the Ultra 4 schedule. So I think the first Trailmaster race is, we haven't officially done it. That's actually on my list this week. But I think the first one is 2 weeks before Memorial Day weekend. I forget what that number is.
Okay.
So then we'll be doing that as long as Rush doesn't play its toll on the cart. Otherwise, I'll just be there putting on the event. And then there's another guy that's doing some like side-by-side jamboree type event out at Twisted Trails. And I think we're helping him put on a night version of the
Ooh.
Trailmaster race.
I would love a
that'd be
night
cool.
version.
Shit.
I love night wheeling. It's just so different.
Yeah, but racing in the night, that
Yeah.
would be epic.
More lights.
That's what I'm curious on. And so he's got a couple of cool ideas. Like he found a place that he can get a couple thousand like reflector tacks like you see on people's
trees?
mailbox and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he's planning on putting them on the trees so you can kind
Holy
of follow
cow.
the reflectors.
Oh, that would be sick.
Wow.
And then I think after that is at AOP in Tennessee
Yep.
for the Ultra 4. And then another Trailmaster, and then Crandon. Crandon I'm excited for because I talked to my tuner and he's like, yep, we're tuning it all the way up and you're going to have 28 pounds of boost and make 300 plus horsepower for Crandon. So I'm looking forward to that.
why?
Hell yes.
Why that?
More short course stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Short course.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't get that power for hammers because you'll destroy everything. But he's like, we'll turn it all the way up for Crandon.
And
So
tuning
that
into
was
that
a cool
race.
phone call.
Yes.
Does that get coverage like King of Hammers? So I kind of would like to
So,
like somebody with a
I've
drone
never-
to follow you around.
So I've never done Crandon, but the way I look at it is every time you see Pro 4, Pro 2, that type of stuff on a short course, like
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR style in a sense, that's Crandon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. I like it.
I'd be curious to how far that'd be for you guys, because I think it's an 8-hour drive for me going up through the UP to where you
Wow.
guys would just follow the coast on the other side. But that's the cool thing, though, is it's supposed to be all the Ultra 4 classes. It's supposed to be Pro 2 and Pro 4. Like, it's supposed to be everything that weekend.
Where is Crandon?
Crandon, Wisconsin.
Oh, I see.
So it's north of you guys by quite a ways, I think.
No.
Couple minutes.
It's not far, is it? It's fine.
Well, actually, it might
7
not be
hours,
because
6:45.
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
6:35 on mine.
that makes sense. Because I think it's
Oh,
around
yeah.
10 if I go south
shit,
and come
that's
back.
not. We used to go up to Minocqua and like Rhinelander and Tomahawk. That's all right there east of or west of that. So yeah, it's just okay. I know where you're at.
Oh, and you got to go
So
around
I
the
think
lake.
that's
annoying.
Oh, you don't have the schedule. You have the Google map. I think that's Labor Day weekend,
I think you're right on that. I don't have my
which I'm sure you
schedule
guys have
pulled
a 0.1 race.
up. Labor Day weekend, we do not.
Oh,
we
should go Brandon then.
We are because that was our plan for finals, but our finals is Halloween weekend at Mid America for that instead.
Crandon International Off-Road Raceway.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Are you going to Visions?
So that was what I was going to say. That's on my would love to list, but
Oh, great.
I don't know how to make that happen.
Okay. Well, here, you were just telling me you can fly into King of Hammers and rent a 2-wheel drive. You could rent a compact card and get to Visions.
This is true.
True. And that's what Shelby keeps telling me. He's like, if you're going to pick any race, you need to go to Mid America. And then if it's going to be there, you need to do the Visions.
Excuse me.
I forget.
They have a lazy river now and a splash pad. So free beer, lazy river, off-road park, racing, every series that I don't go ahead and argue with me.
Find the bad point.
Yep.
I forget. Are you sponsoring the 0.1?
We talked about it a ton, but we never actually. Oh no, you're fine. Because I definitely didn't say no, and then we just never came up with basically like back to the hammers screwing everything up around here. That falls in that category.
I understand. This is the same with polishing. Like I have so much to do, and then I keep taking on other little jobs.
And more.
Like, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, you want to bring your wheels by? Yeah, 2 weeks. It should be done. Oh. 6 weeks later. Like, yeah, they're not done yet.
Haven't even looked at them.
I am absolutely horrible at that one.
So I'm right there with you, buddy. That is literally part of being a business owner that nobody tells you about.
That's not the fun part on the front side.
Nobody talks
it's
about.
It's great and it makes you rich, right? That's what everyone says.
What I
do whatever you want.
You're your own boss.
You're your own boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can, hopefully you know how to tell yourself to get your ass to work.
Shoot, I'm not going to lie. I was in bed when I messaged you first this morning.
I heard that. I was not. I actually got my ass out of bed this morning and got to work. I had to go take the wife's car into town and her Jeep into town and put fuel in it because it was almost out of fuel last night. I went to put it in the garage, hit the remote start. I'm like, yeah, it'll be good and warmed up when I go out there to put it in the garage. I go open the door and it's not running. I'm like, oh, you fucker. I was like, oh, nice. I see. We've run out of fuel, so we're not going to run.
No dinosaurs.
That was at midnight last night after I sent you that message last night. And so I was like, oh,
minor details.
Yeah.
Talking about fuel, come to find out, I've tuned this thing for E85, thinking it's going to be way easier than getting race gas. And apparently you can't buy corn fuel in California.
Well, I mean,
wrong state.
Yeah.
That was problem one.
That would suck. Yeah. Sheesh.
But awesome. No, so I guess the short version, since I know you guys are on a timeline, but your ORA question of, yeah, basically, I think, when did we start? I think it was 2013. And kind of did it on the, the side and started the easy way of working my day job and coming home and basically filling orders till the after hours. And then, that kept growing. And basically, fast forward to more recent, we actually moved into, I forget exactly, I think it's 5,000 square foot building now.
Yeah.
And added some more equipment, which is where, you see a lot more stuff popping up now we can actually crank out a lot more stuff.
I have a question for you. When you went from part-time to full-time, were you able to put the hammer down? Like you personally, were you able to, when you went full-time, like, okay, cool, now I'm going to put the hammer down. Did that happen for you?
So what do you mean? Making things happen or like actually having more time? Because
now you're full-time. You're like, cool. Yeah. Now I'm going to put my, go hard in the paint, put it all in. Or were you like, when you went full-time, like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like, so I went full-time.
I don't know if I answered this right or not, but like, I feel like no matter how much time I have no downtime.
Yeah.
And so the switch of like going from working 8 to 5 and then 6 to 10. Like it just turned to 8 to 10 right out of the gate.
Yeah. I got you.
And so, but that comes down to back to almost the new product question is I never stopped thinking, which always means, oh, well, we need to make this and we need to make this. And then it's like, no, dummy, you need to finish the first thing you said that about.
Yep. This is true.
And like, I think we've even talked about it in message before, but like we have so many things that aren't on the website that are just, in my opinion, like, never either got the last 10% to where the perfection of So the question I always ask myself with product, for example, is if this showed up, would I be happy? Is question one.
Did you pay for it?
Because you paid for it. That's what I tell the guys in the shop when they're, well, is this okay or not? Well, what would you say if this showed up after you paid X amount of dollars?
Right.
Well, no, I think this is good. Then it's good to go on the shelf.
Yeah. Then
If it's not, it goes in the scrap bin.
Yep.
And then
or you could just call me and I'll tell. I mean, my standards are definitely lower if I get free shit.
Oh, yeah, you could
that's where you guys are screwed up and too far away. Like I've got a couple buddies that show up and they don't say hi to me. They go straight to the drawer that is full of defects.
You should do a bargain bin.
Yeah, on the website. Oh yeah, definitely.
So that's part two is, you know how dumb people are. Not to be rude, but people are dumb.
That is a fact.
And so I'll use a truss, for example, is the truss will literally hold itself together and it is clear as day wrong or it fits. Like, to where you could almost weld one of these trusses without an axle.
Yeah.
And
it's like Legos. It just puts itself together.
Yeah. And so that falls into can this get screwed up or do you really have to do something wrong to screw it up? And so I think that's one thing why so many people like this stuff is it is stupid user friendly.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, the cool part of being a wheeler, building wheeler parts, even though I'm playing with golf carts right now, is it just makes it easy. And so that's like back to the Dana 44 stuff and why I hate 44s is I have a truss for almost every 44. The downfall is they're all 70% to where they're plenty nice for me, you, and your friend.
Yeah.
But all it takes is the one idiot internet troll that wants to badmouth because he had to grind an 1/8 inch off of one spot.
God. Yeah.
Like,
well, it wasn't a perfect fit. Like, bro,
we're not building fucking JKs here, mother trucker.
That's right. It's not bolt on, but I took all the work out of the equation.
Yeah.
And that's always the funny thing to me is I've got a pile of stuff that fits great, but it had to take this little grind or this little grind. And so because of that, on my end of just being poor time management, never made that last tweak. And, so that's the funny thing. I get people all the time like, what are you talking about? This fits amazing. Like I've never had one fit this good. And it's like,
excellent.
Because we took the extra time to make sure it does fit.
Right.
Like, last thing I need is somebody complaining all over the place because they had to grind an 1/8 inch off of something.
Yeah. Well, that's when you need you need a minion army. And so when somebody does like fire off like, wow, I had to do this. And then your minion army shows up and just fucking murders them.
Oh, I've had that a few times.
Yeah.
It's
your diehards coming in force and they're just like, he becomes white noise and you're like, yeah.
Oh yeah. I've gotten those texts a few times. Like, you see what's going on? What are you talking about? This guy complained about this and was a complete, like there's a few times where they've had it wrong and just get ripped apart.
Yeah.
And it's always funny. And that's it, I guess, is the short version of the fit and finish wise is, I won't put something on the website unless I know when somebody calls me and it tells me it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
That no question I can answer. Yes, it does. Something's wrong.
You need to send me pictures because I don't understand why it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Yes. And like a lot of the time, like talking about trusses, the answer there is no, you didn't check the measurements and that is not the axle housing you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sucks.
Like it's something, stupid like that.
Right. Did you weld it yet? No. Okay. Put it back in its box.
Yep.
It's going to cost you a couple extra dollars.
I buy a ECM mount. Bought one of the small ones.
Oh.
And it's complaining up and down it didn't fit. Huh. And then it's like, you bought the wrong one.
Yep.
Like, what do you want me to say?
That's on you, buddy. I'm sorry
Happens.
It
We've
says
all been
in the
there.
description.
for not that PCM.
But talk about dumb people.
It just
the
happens.
ECM mount, I don't know if you looked at it on the website. The original one has a picture of one that's pink, which was great for marketing. It stands out.
Right.
I had so many people, I don't want the pink one. Do you offer it? And the first thing in the description says, comes raw, not pink.
Oh, I did this last week. I messaged a guy on Facebook and asked about something of the part. Like it was a vehicle he was parting out, and I asked about the part. And before he could even respond, I replied to the message. I was like, I am so sorry. I was like, had I read one more sentence beyond what I read in the description, because I got to where I was like the information I wanted to see. Yep. Like I got to that and I was like, ooh, that. And then I messaged him like, hey, the blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And then I went back. I was like, yeah. So if I'd have just read one more sentence, I would have answered my own question. And I was like, so now I'm that guy. Like,
my bad.
Oh yeah, we're all guilty of that at some point.
His response back was like, oh no, you're nowhere near as good as the rest of the week's been, so you're good.
Yep. Oh yeah, I always crack up at all those memes that pop up of exactly that.
It's wonderful. But all right, one more thing before we let you go. What's this week's code? What are you giving me? What are you giving me for free?
I knew you were going to ask that, and I actually logged into the computer, and then I never pulled it up.
Nice, real nice.
So why I go walk back to the
my newsletter,
giving us a deal on a turbo razor that needs a turbo.
Well, I know this week's deal is the tie down stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Things are gangster.
The current week, not tomorrow.
Well, I was going to tell you tomorrow already.
Yeah. That's what we need because this comes out Tuesday.
Yep,
so we'll want to give.
I need to get back on it and start sending you guys the early version.
Yeah. Now my email is so stupid cluttered from my Summershine page, my Summershine website. I can't even it's stupid.
Let's see. Where's deal of the week? Of course, the first thing that pops up: KOH closed, no deal, gone to hammers. Let's see. Tie down. Ooh. This is right. It's stuff that you like. It's all storage stuff.
Ooh, you need to deck out the van with some more goods.
That's what this week is storage stuff?
Well, when this comes out, so the 22nd through the 28th.
Yeah. Oh, dude, good deal. Because literally last night I was doing, what was it? Not last night. 2 days ago, I was doing oil changes in the shop, and I was like, damn it, I need that. What was it?
Funnel holder.
Well, so on the new product question that I didn't answer, one thing that we've been working on for a long time and just never made its way to the site, and I've literally had them in stock, as dumb as it is
I know that feeling.
The cordless tool stuff.
Oh. Yeah, I need some of that.
So it holds four of just about any cordless tool. Well, I shouldn't say that. It doesn't hold like a circular saw and stuff like that, but any of the drills and impacts. And then one of them's got a shelf, so it's got a spot for most chargers. I think the only charger that doesn't fit's the big Milwaukee multi-battery one, but then fits all the batteries. And then so there's one with the shelf and without the shelf. And I think that's probably why that got bumped up to next week, is so it could be new product along with the rest of the popular stuff.
So I might have to pick one of those up.
Yeah. Huh? Hell yeah.
But yeah.
How much you giving us off on all that stuff?
35%.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What a good number. Right? Maybe
that one's, I'm assuming 20%. It's actually not saved in my spreadsheet, so I don't even have a code yet to give you. So what's the code need to be?
45% or bust.
Total offer podcast. What does the...
that one's top. That gets you 10% or something.
Oh yeah, I can't use that one.
That one's already in the system.
What does it need to be?
Trying to find what they normally are for storage.
If you don't buy this, you're a dumbass.
That's a long code.
A little long, but it works.
The man said it works. I mean,
CBAP-YWL.
Yeah. Oh, that
one's good.
Yes, that.
Shelby will charge you 30 cents per click.
Yeah.
So you may not
if we use code Shelby Sucks for storage items.
Oh my God.
Let's do that. Let's make that happen.
Oh my God.
We need to do that for a 0.1
Daryl
sale.
will buy you out.
Yeah, Daryl's gonna just mortgage his house.
He's gonna sell his XJ and buy you out of stock just so he can use that code.
So now that I'm at the computer, you asked your new product question. So the stuff that is actually pretty much on the shelf, whether or not it's on the site or not yet, is we just did a 78 to 79 Dana 60 truss in the low pro and the standard height.
Nice.
I think the Chevy 44 truss, so like the early mids.
Oh, nice.
What
So
that
for
era
Mike,
is, but it's like 71 to 70 or 80 or something
Leaf
like
spring,
that. 44.
is it just a
So it'll be a leaf spring housing.
Okay.
So you just
Yeah, yeah.
cut the one perch and then the truss works.
Nice.
Um,
That's so for Mike.
And then, so this is actually one we were just using on a project and a bunch of people liked, is truss bump pad kits. So it's basically it's super simple, but it's like 3 little pieces that basically make a flat platform that match our trusses, because most of the trusses almost have all the same slope to them. So this has the slope cut in it to where it makes a flat pad for a bump stop to hit.
Oh, I need some of those.
Looks like shock mounts. So those are actually we use them a lot on the rear axle. So they actually hang off the back and drop down some. So it actually drops the bolt hole almost, we'll say, flush with the top of an axle tube, but doesn't actually hang below. So it allows you to drop the shock mount about 2 or 3 inches lower than normal So like we got it on a YJ we're building, to where we got a 12-inch shock with the axle at full bump hits the floor, yet the tower doesn't actually go through the wheel well.
Like it. Damn, I'll just drop off a YJT and have you
Done
take care of that.
Hey, he's got a YJ in the shop that he will like help. Can we have you do the same thing to Ian's YJ that you're doing to that one YJ that's in the shop?
What's it getting, like friggin' tons?
Full chassis.
Oh, yeah. That's a
So this
financial
one did get
feasible option.
60 and a Sterling, and then it's got 12-inch coilovers front and rear, air bumps front and rear, and sway
on
bar
a
in the
tube
rear.
chassis?
No, this one we actually designed around
I thought
all
you
the
were-
stock stuff.
I thought you were building, but I thought you were building a chassis for a YJ on the
So
table.
kind of. I did one. You did see those pictures. That was real.
You sent that to
That
me.
was for a local guy.
project
That's
done?
another one of those like build bird distraction.
Oh, yeah.
So
Is
like
that
it is fully designed, fully been built. The only thing that one doesn't have that one, time is what screws me for bringing that to market. But
Right.
2 is the body mounts. That's about the only thing that isn't designed into that chassis. And then the guy that got that one pretty much changed his mind and is going full buggy with it. So it pretty much has a YJ grill and hood, and that's it.
so wait, you have that entire chassis designed in CAD so you can literally like bust it out?
For the most part, yeah. So
And if Ian orders it today in cash, he gets 20%?
Cash.
possibly. I'll just round the price up 20%. Works out great.
See, there we go.
And that's
You
marketing.
gotta get the
pay for
price.
hammers
You gotta get the
somehow.
price first.
That's marketing.
Oh, I was going to ask you, what do you have to do to qualify for the UTV race? Is it the same as
Nothing.
4,400, or is it just a show
So
up
that's
and
the
send it?
cool thing with everything but 44. 4,400 is the only class that you have to pre-qualify to race hammers. Everything else you can show up. So
Wow.
like we have not done an Ultra 4 race. We literally showed up. I went and talked to the tech guys, and I'm like, I have a new build. What do I need to do? And he's like, come over here by tomorrow. We'll tech the car, and you're good to go.
Huh.
You just give them a lot of money, and you're good to race.
Yeah, sounds cheap. So what are their just quick, like, I mean, just safety stuff, or is there certain like tech requirements as far as the build goes?
So I'm a bad example because I literally, my side-by-side will pretty much pass 4,400 tech.
Okay.
You do not have to pass 4,400 rules to race a side-by-side. So if you literally wanted to be smarter than me and try and do it on a budget and not build a full-blown race car, you could literally go buy a new side-by-side. You could call and order a nice cage, replace the seats, put harnesses, and for the most part, you're good to race. Next would be exactly what you said, safety. So harnesses, window nets, and the Hans device and certified helmet, and you're good there. I think per rules, you do have to have radio and intercom, which you want.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a safety thing. It's you need it because you need to talk to your co-driver.
Yep.
So the downfall is you're pretty much looking at $4,000 to $5,000 for you and your co-driver in safety stuff through, let's just say, rugged.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a little better because I'm a dealer for them and stuff, but I want to say the few people that I've set up this last year was roughly with a GPS, intercom radio, a few other odds and ends, you're like $4,000 there. And then it all comes down to whether you want to change tires and wheels. You're going to want good axle shafts, stuff like that, but you could totally go race. I was dumb, and I say dumb, but we put a 20-gallon fuel cell in ours. We've got a rear mount radiator with a massive intercooler. It's all 300M shafts. It's all the chromoly drive shafts. Like, if I knew it was a problem, it got upgraded to good stuff.
Well, yeah, you can go as wild as you want with it, and that's why I love the whole industry. Is you can go race a stock whatever, or you could go. I mean, just there's no limit.
That's the cool thing is guys with no limit got beat by guys that showed up with a cage and safety gear.
Yep.
It's a matter of being smart and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And then of course that's where I go overboard, being a design guy and having cool tooling and doing what I do. Like, it's basically a full chassis, which it's not. Everyone thinks it is because when you look at it, you don't see much stock left. But that's not to get on a long tangent, but that's actually phase 2 that's going on behind the scenes. Designing a full Ultra 4 side-by-side chassis to put all of my good stuff in. So phase 1, buy all the nice parts, use the stock platform.
Yep.
Phase 2 is I want to do a chassis that is production minded. So
hey, now
almost like what, yeah.
So that somebody can go out and buy a total ass, somebody can go out and buy one totaled from the insurance company, buy
Put all
your
the stuff on a race
chassis,
and go do hammers.
Well, you just let me know when I can pick up the prototype.
I can pick up the prototype.
Yeah,
and the bill, buddy.
So
I'll take that's the prototype means free, right?
I know.
Damn.
So the big thing I need, and if anybody listening has a good answer to this one, I want to know, is I really want to get into a 3D scanner. Problem is I don't have $25,000 to $50,000 to buy a scanner, and nobody in Michigan that I know of does either. So I would love to go, when I tear this thing down for full prep again, go have the chassis scanned to where I know I fit in this thing great. So I know the cage works. Even though I have the cage designed in CAD, I don't have the stock geometry in CAD. I do, but not precision enough to build a fixture.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I really want this year is to try and get all the suspension points, all of everything to where I have a 100% legit model to start designing. And then if things go as planned, potentially for hammers next year, I'll have a new car that will be a full ORA production 1 chassis in a sense.
I wonder if you could hire somebody to do
will
that.
Scan it for you.
You can. The problem is all the ones that are in the power sports are on the West Coast.
Okay.
And I've talked to a few of them on it, and they either, well, I shouldn't even say either. The only answer I've really been getting is, sorry, that's our bread and butter. We don't sell that yet.
We're not yet. Okay. They're not going to, they don't sell it?
They don't sell the
CAD file.
So there's a lot of guys that have Razor and side-by-side scan files.
Yes.
And they'll sell you an A-arm or a trailing arm or stuff like that, but they won't sell you necessarily the chassis because they're doing chassis for trophy truck teams that want a pre-runner. So
interesting. What a mess.
I got a couple goofy things that I kind of want to push the envelope on with my chassis of I may or may not have some 5.2 bypasses laying here and some portals that might make their way to a side-by-side.
We need to hang out more.
Okay, I think we are running short on time here.
That's what I was going to say. We can go left field tangent.
This is going left field tangent.
Times.
And if this was a normal Sunday when we had just like all sorts of time, we will sit here and bullshit with you for 2-3 hours.
Days.
Days. Why don't we do this, Jacob? Why don't we have you back on in the next couple of weeks where we can just legit have just a bullshit and we'll throw it on the Patreon. So we'll have you back on for a Patreon episode instead. And then we'll talk
like
more.
You said, wait a little while and do an actual ORA episode instead of Hammer's recap.
Yep.
Yeah. I wanted to, Hammer's recap is great, especially getting a second point of view is always fun. And then you and Shelby having the argument, and you definitely need to use Shelby sucks as the discount code. I think that's totally worth it.
We'll have to figure out a good one for that and do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool. So,
that's all I got.
Yeah, we got to turn you guys. We got to turn at least Jacob loose. Get this episode wrapped up. I have a baby showing up in less than 20 minutes. So
perfect.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on here. Super last minute notice. Literally like, hey, can you be on the show? Well, I could right now if you want. Okay, call him.
Done.
Yeah, that's exactly how that went. I'm kind of laying in bed right now, and I'm supposed to be hanging out with my family. But yeah,
Can you be on a podcast? Yeah, okay, sounds great. Don't give you any option, don't give you any time to think about it. Just either now or nothing. Are you in?
Yeah. What did you say? I think it literally said, if you don't reply, you don't get on.
Yeah, that's exactly what it said. Like, if you don't answer this, you're not on the podcast.
And here you are.
That was the very first mention of having you on the podcast. If you don't answer this, you're not on the show.
Yes.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I appreciate you giving us your time, buddy.
Oh yeah.
You stay crazy up there in the Canada places.
Canada land.
And
we're hours from Canada.
Oh yeah, sure you are.
Right. Well, you're closer than we are.
I bet you live further north than the most southern part of Canada, so I don't want to hear it.
It's probably true.
It's definitely true.
I love it. All right.
So,
well, we'll get you back on here pretty quick because this is we got some good info.
We definitely have. Yeah, we got more stuff to talk about with ORA. I'd love to do more talking about that. Maybe even have just more chit chatting about ORA. So
yeah, we'll do something on that, and like we talked before, we'll figure out something cool and do some I'll give crap away. We'll figure out some cool giveaway and to go with it, or who knows what,
like a race chassis for a Razor or whatever.
Yeah,
I just throw it out there. I just want you to just
an IOU slip for 10 years from now.
Oh shit, 10 years. I might be still here. You never know.
No, you'll be on off road. Remember?
Oh, this is true. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll catch you later, there, buddy.
Yeah, and I'll figure out the code and I'll post it tomorrow in the thing, which would be yesterday when people hear this.
Sounds good. Yeah, throw it in the Trail Riders page and throw up the ad, whatever you run on Facebook. Just throw it up there in the Trail Riders page so they can see it. So
cool.
Thanks for being on, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Later. Awesome. Okay. Glad that we got that under control. Yep. Okay. So
do you want to do Razor stuff yet?
No, because I can't afford it.
Here we go.
Okay. I can't afford it. I don't want to afford it. Like the idea of this is dumb. The idea of buying a chassis for a Razor and then buying a wrecked Razor is more entertaining.
How much do you think you can buy a wrecked turbo for? Because I've been shopping for one of these.
They're 10 or 13, between 10 and 13 grand, aren't they?
Yeah.
Wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah, totaled.
I'm
the
talking
chassis totaled.
Yeah, they're pretty bugged up.
The chassis mangled. You literally have to rebuild the whole thing.
Yeah.
I know they're still stupid.
Yeah. Because I thought I was going to get on Copart and snake a cheap $5
grand and pick one up.
Throw a couple grand at it.
That needs a couple control arms.
At it. Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, look, the plastic's fucked up. Darn.
Yeah. No.
Nope.
Yeah. Maybe for like 15 or 18 grand.
And the fucked up thing is they're selling. You don't have the option of there's one or two that won't sell.
So with that same thing, okay, so you look at one that's been wrecked.
But you can't see it.
Oh, you can't go look at it. Well, you can see pictures.
You could go drive to fucking wherever the fuck you're buying it from.
Well, that's the thing. So here's the one thing. So you look on Copart and you find them and you're like, okay, 15 grand. This one needs the control arms ripped off of it and
the cage is tweaked.
So you got a couple issues with it. It's 15 grand and you don't know how did it get that way?
You don't know if it ran.
Yeah. How did it get that way?
Yep.
So you can pay 15 grand for that one wrecked, or are you just going to run your ass over to Badlands an hour away, go, I want that one.
Yep.
And drive it onto a trailer.
Yep.
No. And drive it into the park.
Yep.
Go wheeling for a day and then drag it back home with you. And you're going to make payments on it. And it's going to cost you an extra, $7 grand, $5 grand, brand new.
Oh, well, you're talking brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Literally, go to the showroom.
Buy a used one.
Just go. Do they sell used ones over there?
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Things that Ian's like, oh, I'm deep in this motherfucker.
Yeah. Do you want a phone number and text
almost kind of not
Okay.
yet.
Well,
Let me get low key tightened down and then get the toe pig tightened down and then we'll look
all
at
right,
razors.
so you don't want to do a 2-for-1. I got it. I
Not
get you.
yet.
I feel
Yeah,
you.
not there yet.
I hook you up with my sales guy.
I like it. But I'm just saying. So how much is a used one?
Couple bucks.
Well, I know that, but like
Depends on
How
what
much-
you want. Do you want a turbo?
1,000
or not?
turbo used 4-door, 1,000 turbo 4-door.
I don't price out 4-doors. Oh yeah, I don't
Okay.
got fucking.
So 1,000 turbo 2-door,
the dog doesn't need a back seat.
1,000 turbo 2-door, 2 years old.
2 years old.
You got a ballpark
About
on that? What is it?
17, 18,
Okay. And a brand new one is
22, 24.
For a 2-door?
Yeah.
I feel like we were in the showroom that day. There was like 22,000 for a 1,000 turbo, 11,000 turbo. Yeah, 1,000 turbo. And it was like 21. Maybe it was a 2-door.
Maybe it was on sale.
Ooh.
Maybe it wasn't a turbo.
Oh, it probably was like I feel like it was.
Just 1,000 XP with no
It could have been
turbos.
1,000 XP.
You can buy them cheap, man.
Oh, really?
Okay. I don't want
Do
to say
you need
cheap.
a turbo? How much extra is the? I mean, how much extra get up and goesies?
I mean, it's like a 144 horse engine with a turbo. Like,
Then add turbo.
yeah.
Oh,
I don't.
So,
I don't actually
144
know
horse NA.
the power difference because I'm
Don't do
on
it.
the like.
Okay.
You need a turbo.
Oh, because turbos.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
I mean,
I don't know.
so I went through this struggle.
We were doing exactly what we said we weren't going to do on this podcast.
Well, you want to?
Turning it into a racer
Oh,
podcast.
well, we're not going to like continue. Well, okay, we will, but I mean, it's
7 listeners
total off-road.
literally just shut
Yeah.
off.
Well, sorry about you.
There's no mention of razors in the opening. I'm just saying.
Well, it does say total off-road podcast, and the razors are the off-road world at the moment. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to admit it.
I had this
But it's a
conversation.
thing.
I had this conversation with Triple X
Yep.
last week when I said that we talked about him on the podcast. And he's like, "Oh, it's awesome." And I was like, "Yeah." Shelby was like, "Oh man, you haven't had him on the podcast yet." And I'm like, "It is the Total Off-Road podcast that does seemingly include mega trucks.
Yeah.
That is off-roading."
Yep.
So I need to get him on here at some point. But anyway, at any rate, we need to wrap this sucker up.
Yep.
So give the people what they want.
Last call?
No, we're out of time.
Well, that's okay. What do they
I
want?
cannot last call and then dad at the same time.
So what am I
Seemingly
supposed to
that's a
give
bad
them?
idea.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
You don't have my note sheet out. Go check out
Oh, I get you.
our things.
TotalOffroadPodcast.com for all your information. It's got all the links to all our sponsors, all our partners, all our social medias, all on the one page.
Oh, that's easy.
One-stop shop,
One-stop shop.
TotalOffroadPodcast.com.
Make sure you go subscribe up on YouTube. We need all of your subscriptions. Check out the Facebook
Smash
page.
the bell. I was a little late with that, but sorry.
That's okay. Check out the Facebook page, Total Off-Road Podcast over there, and then Total Off-Road Podcast Trail Riders for the group where the conversation goes on about this episode. And if you're looking for us on Instagram, it's Total Off-Road Podcast Total Off-Road Podcast on IG. And that's all we got for you this week. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll catch you guys on the trail.